if you take out the fact that I lived in London for like 4 or 5 years, then me being Australian doesn't really sum up like where I'm actually from, because Australians, I'm quite different to like original Australians. They're very, how they speak and how they interact with people is very different. And so now I'm kind of like, I'm Korean, but I grew up in Australia and I've been living in London for the past 4 years.
Welcome, beautiful people, to the Lost and Local podcast. We're Adam
and Hannah
and Rielle,
3 Korean citizens who grew up abroad and are now figuring out life in Korea.
Join us as we share stories and our honest perspective on what it means to be lost and local.
Awesome. So we've got a special guest with us today. Very excited because this is our first guest that didn't come from the States. So we'll let her,
No.
Oh my goodness, that's right. My bad, Pastor G1. My bad.
Oh, yeah. I forgot as well.
Yeah. But this was our first female from that place.
Okay. From the land down under.
Okay. So why don't we introduce our guest?
Yes. So we're so excited to welcome today's guest, Rielle, a fabulously talented friend and a fellow ARC Church member who's lived in Sydney, London, and now Suwon. She's got an eye for fashion, a killer vocal range, an infectious laugh, and a meme memory like no other. After this episode, check out her YouTube channel for vlogs from her uni days and her life in Korea. Welcome to Lost and Local, Rielle.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So fun. So we always do a little icebreaker to get us all prepared to getting to talking about life. So what's the most questionable fashion choice you made? Now, I don't know if Hannah, she might have implied it, but Rielle is probably the most fashion sense person in the room right now.
I just studied it for 4 years.
So, Rielle, do you want to go first?
Yes. Okay. So the first thing that comes to mind is when I was in year 5, so like 10 years old. I don't know if you know, but there's a show on Disney Channel called Shake It Up. No, with Zendaya in it.
Oh,
when she was like really young.
Okay,
I heard that she was on Disney.
Yeah, she was on this show called Shake It Up on Disney Channel. And I was so obsessed with that show that on the show she wore these knee-high Converses. There were Converses with laces, but it was knee-high. It came up to your knees.
They were Converse?
Yeah, they were actual Converse.
I didn't even know
shoes.
they made those.
Yeah, so
fascinating.
like if you look it up, it was so questionable, and I was so obsessed with it that I bought it and wore it like every. I know, don't.
We will show a picture of it in our edit.
But then the funny thing is, it wasn't even like the black ones. It wasn't even that plain. It was patched and silver, and it was like crazy looking. And I wore it everywhere, like to church, to like school sometimes.
So funny.
Not a good choice.
Was this? What year was this?
This was in, so when I met like 2010, like 2009, 2010, or probably all the way up until like 2012. I wore it a lot.
Oh, it went pretty long.
Yeah. And then I looked back at the photos and I was like, no.
Burn them.
Why did I? And I actually found them recently. I didn't even chuck it out.
Oh my
I still have them.
You know what? You're going to have to send us a photo of you wearing them. We'll have to post them on here.
I'll see if I can still, if I still have photos.
That'd be so
I might have
funny.
burned
So
all of them.
funny. Dang.
Okay. That's a good one. Yeah. Hannah, how about you?
Okay, for me, I had this hair phase where I didn't like my baby hairs. So I would slick back my hair and like pin it down with like 5,000 bobby pins.
Oh, really?
But that's kind of coming back around.
But it's like nowadays it's cute. Back then it was like all you can see is the metal. Yeah, like, reflecting off the light. and it's like
Oh.
stuck to like way too much to my face. And yeah,
Do you have a photo?
I don't.
Oh, that's sad.
Thankfully, like every time we moved, my parents would have to throw away things. So
Oh.
it's like throw those away.
Throw the bobby pins away.
Yeah, and the pictures. I don't want anyone to know what I used to look like. And then I had glasses. So I've had glasses since I was 5 years old.
Oh,
I had
okay.
really, really bad eyesight.
Mm-hmm.
So my eyes would be like teeny tiny. It's like so.
Oh, because you're minus. on your
Yeah,
prescription.
yeah.
Okay.
So it didn't look good with the hair.
Oh, so you had both.
Wait a minute. We might have had this conversation. Are you wearing contacts or do you
No, I
have
got
corrective vision?
correction.
Oh, okay.
Corrective surgery.
Mm.
Best thing I did.
LASIK.
Yeah.
Lace. I did the R whatever thing where they like actually peel off a layer of your eyeball,
Eyes.
and then they like it has to grow back naturally.
Oh.
I was in so much pain for 2 weeks, but now people can like I can box and there's no problem. So
Box.
yeah,
like
Wow.
what?
As in
like
like
if
fight.
you do LASIK because it's a flap, it never fully heals, and so if someone like hits you in the
Punch you.
face, it could pop up.
Oh.
Yeah.
I did
Oh,
not
that's
know
what you mean by
that.
that.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's why I was like, what does that have to do with boxing?
Oh, wow.
And then like the 21-year-old me was like, I might box later in my life. I don't want
Don't take this away from me.
Oh my gosh.
Or like if you get hit by a soccer ball and it hits you at like a certain
Yeah.
angle, it could like your eye flap could like I don't know move or
That
something.
Oh,
that would be-
interesting.
That would be crazy.
Yeah, and they're like, oh, it's very rare, but I was like, I don't
I don't want
wanna
that chance.
Entertain
yeah.
a less than
Interesting.
5% chance.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
That's interesting that you worried about your baby hairs. I guess guys don't ever think about that, but I guess it's a thing.
I feel like Asians have a lot of like those
Baby
standing
hair.
baby hairs that
Like
don't.
I have grass. Like, when I tie my hair.
Oh, like
it's like
tissa?
grass.
Yeah.
But isn't it a thing where we don't usually like our own hair? Like we're like envious of someone else's hair.
Yeah.
I actually hate my hair.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Isn't
my
it-
natural
love it.
hair.
I love
But
your
don't
hair.
you have like kind of thick hair, right?
Yeah.
Don't
I'm so jealous.
Korean girls like the thick hair thing?
So so my natural hair color is more brown than black. And I always hated that hair color.
Really?
And so that's why I always dye my hair like darker. And actually my hair used to be a lot thicker when I was young. But then this is also a questionable choice that I made when I graduated high school. So I went to a private school all my life, like since I was a baby. And when you're in Australian private school, you can't dye your hair. That's like an unnatural color. So you need, so you need,
can't make it pink.
yeah,
or,
no, it
stuff
has to
like
be
that.
like the blonde to black
Okay.
gradient.
Yeah.
And so when I graduated high school, I was like, I'm going to do something crazy and dye my hair pink.
Oh, okay.
And so I bleached my hair like twice.
Yeah.
And I was supposed to bleach it 3 times, but then I realized like my hair was becoming elastic.
Ugh.
So I was like, no, don't bleach it
Like
again.
melting.
Just leave it at 2. And then, Asians, they have this like orange undertone. And so when they tried to dye it pink, it just ended up being like orange.
Oh my god.
Oh,
And
wow.
it's like, it was the worst thing. It was so bad. And then like the hairdresser really wasn't that good either. Because if you go these days, they do like the whole like Olaplex, like hair treatment, like so that your hair doesn't, get damaged as much. But then it wasn't really like that hairdresser. It wasn't like they didn't do that. And so it took me like 4 years to get my hair back to my natural hair.
Oh god.
Hair color. And like you can't also perm or magic or do anything to your hair if you have bleached hair.
Yeah.
So I had to survive with just this like Barbie straw like hair.
Oh god.
And I remember when it got to like the 3.5 year mark, I went to the hairdresser and was like, can I perm it now? Is it gone? And they were like, no, it's still like this much bleach. And so I was like, just cut it off. And so I had a short, like boy haircut.
Wow, pixie.
Yeah, like a pixie
Wow. You didn't want to shave everything and just
No.
restart?
cut. Can you imagine?
buy like the
you look
temporary
great.
wig or something.
No, that's expensive.
That would get really itchy.
Yeah,
I
it,
feel like-
Are you talking from experience?
No. I would never need to wear a wig. Oh, well, I guess guys would wear wigs if
Yeah,
they
a
start
lot of
balding,
guys.
huh?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't think about that.
Yeah. You're blessed.
Maybe one day it'll happen.
Okay, Adam, what about you? Questionable fashion choice.
Yeah, I feel really very unfashionable with these ladies here because I think you guys are a lot more fashionable than me. But whenever I was in my 20s and 30s, I don't know if I read about Albert Einstein, but I just remember reading some well-renowned founder of America used to wear the same clothes every day because he was like, I don't want to have to think about what I'm going to wear every day.
Yeah, I have
Steve
heard
Jobs.
Steve Jobs did that later, but this
Oh,
was
okay.
before Steve Jobs.
Oh,
I think it
there's an OG
was
before the
maybe
OG.
Albert Einstein.
Yeah,
I have
I
heard of
think
that before.
So I decided in my early 20s, oh my goodness, that's such a great idea.
Oh.
So I bought tons of white t-shirts and I would just have like, I don't know, they were blue jeans or something like that. And I would, whether I was in school and university or like work, sometimes I had to wear something else, but I would try to wear the same outfit every day.
Wow.
Because it was just simple. You wouldn't even have to think about what you're going to end up wearing. So I had so little fashion sense, and it's carried on throughout my life. So yeah, I've been probably rotating between my shirts now because I don't have that many shirts to wear. So I don't really like buying new stuff. Yeah, I'm so not fashionable, but yeah.
Everyone has their own
Fashion.
style.
Yeah,
Yes.
Yeah. I think knowing that you don't have good fashion sense and wearing something simple is better than thinking that you have good fashion sense and wearing something really that doesn't suit you.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the easiest thing for me is because I don't have to worry about, I don't generally worry about what people think of me.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll just wear clothes that are way beyond my age appropriate. So I'll just, the ladies know when I go to church, I'm always wearing t-shirts
That's age appropriate.
for my age.
Yeah.
Why not?
What do you think is age appropriate? Like, what do you think you should be wearing?
At least like a polo shirt or a collared shirt.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Yeah, where like
Like
wearing,
khaki
especially
pants.
shirts with like designs on them is like supposedly like a faux pas for older people. You're not supposed to wear like flashy designs that say things. You're supposed to be muted down. I mean, I'm wearing a more muted down shirt today, but I don't
Like your
usually-
Michigan shirt.
Yeah, or
like
just
bright red.
yeah, it's very like childish type of thing, but I don't care.
I don't think so.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wear it with
That's good.
confidence. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So that's my story.
Nice.
Well, we're pretty excited to get into learning more about Rielle. I feel like I know Rielle a bit, but I'm excited to hear more about just her journey because very much like us, she is lost and local. I guess the first question is, where did you grow up, Rielle? How would you answer that?
So I was born in Seoul, Korea, and then I lived here until I was about 9-10 years old.
Whoa.
Yeah. So I actually didn't move to Australia that early on in my childhood. It was like I moved when I was in year 5, and then I grew up, like I spent kind of my teenage years in Sydney, and then when I graduated high school, I moved to London and kind of spent my young adult life in London, and now I'm back in Korea where it all started.
Wait, so did you go to like a local Korean school?
Yes. So I went to this primary school called Yonghun 초등학교, which is a private school that had classes half in Korean and half in English.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even know they had those type of schools.
Bilingual.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it wasn't international school, but they had this school that had just like a complete half of the subjects were in English and then half of them were in Korean. And it was pretty fast. It wasn't really local. I had to take like school bus really early in the morning. Yeah.
And did your parents send you to that school because they knew they were moving to
No.
Australia? Oh.
So I think they sent me to that school because, like, first of all, it's a very famous primary school, and you get in it by doing like lucky dip. So you can't just pay and get in. You have to go to
It
like
was like a lottery system?
yeah. So
Oh.
you put your name in and they have it in like a pot and you just pick.
Okay.
And that's how you get into the school.
Mm.
And apparently they were like, "Oh, we should just try it." And then my mom was like to my dad, she was like, "Well, you can go and do that lucky dip thing and see if you get it." Because like I don't really need her to go to that school. He went and then he got it. And so they sent me to the school. And I actually went to I actually went to a kindergarten that was also half English, half Korean, called like Pambini, like kindergarten school. And it just happened that way. And we had no plans to move to Australia until like my mom got a job like 팔령. Like she got like a job offer in the same company in Australia.
Oh, cool.
And they decided like then to move to Australia. It was never in like the
original
plans.
plan.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's pretty forward thinking, though, of your dad to really want to try to get you into something that taught English, because I'm sure it's obviously going to help a lot of young people at that stage to learn
Yeah.
both languages, especially in their formative years. So that's kind of cool that he had the foresight to
I
really
think-
encourage it.
Yeah, because kids in Korea, they learn English from like really, really young.
Yeah.
And I didn't really do that. And so like they go to like academies and like
Yeah.
hagwons and stuff until like when they're really young. And my parents weren't really like, they didn't want to push me that way to get stressed when I was really little. But then when I started going into kindergarten and stuff, when kids start, speaking and things like that, I think they realized like how behind I was
Oh.
compared to other kids. And so like I started to get really stressed because I remember I have this really distinct memory from when I was in kindergarten. So I probably was like super, super young, but they had an English textbook and they were like, "Oh, turn to page 100 and something." So it was in the hundreds. But I didn't know how to read like the 100 numbers. And I remember just like flipping the book like willy-nilly until the kid next to me had it on the right page so I could turn to that page
Okay.
from looking at like them.
Page number or something,
Yeah. I have these memories because I think like subconsciously I felt behind as well. And then I was getting stressed as a kid. And so they really focused for me to go be in an environment where there's more English spoken. But yeah, it's probably one of the
That was
reasons.
me in Korean church.
Really?
I didn't
With-
know the
with Korean?
Korean names of like the books of the Bible. So I'd be like, what's going on? And then like the kids all have it. I'm like, okay. Or I would take my friend's Bible. I would give her mine.
Yeah.
It's interesting that you were raised in America, in Philly or near Philly, right? And then Rielle was raised here, but then both of you both can speak English and Korean well,
Yeah.
but you both took different paths to get to that,
I
that
know.
alignment.
8 or 9 seems to be that spot where parents decide to move. Like that happened to a couple
Migrate.
of our guests. Like they were all 8, 9.
Yeah. I heard though that actually immigrating or sending your kids to an English speaking country when they're like year 5, 6 is the best time
Yeah.
where they can speak both languages.
Yeah.
So you've grown up enough in one culture that you can speak this fluently, and then you go to, a Western country and then you speak English, and they find it a lot easier to juggle both languages than if you were to go obviously when you're like really, really young, or if you go too late, then
13 or
English
14.
is
It's
difficult.
hard.
And then you still kind of have the not natural native English speaking
You
because
have
you're
an
too
accent.
older.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, yeah, that's similar to my wife Hyojin because she came at 8 or 7 or 8. So because she spoke Korean at home, she was able to retain her Korean
Yeah.
even though she lived in the States. When you were in Korea
Mhm.
prior to moving to Australia, you were able to begin getting integrated into English speaking. So, other than just a school, were you able to speak it outside of that? Did you speak English to your parents or?
Mm, I think so when I went to Sydney, I went to like a super white school. Like I was literally the only Asian.
Really?
And it wasn't even like there were other cultures. It was like they were white and then it was me.
Oh.
Like and then like I was probably like super minority, just like POC, like just a person of color. And the only person in my year that was remotely Asian was this girl that was half Croatian and half Korean, but she couldn't speak a word of Korean.
Sure.
I remember on the first day they were like, "Oh, look, Korean. Like be friends." And then she was like, I can't speak Korean. I don't know what to do. And so I think and my mom is technically American. So she was born in the States.
What?
Yeah. So my mom was actually born in the States.
Oh.
So she she went to an international school like in Korea, and she went to school in the States, like high school and everything. And she went to
Wow.
uni in Korea. So she could speak.
That's impressive that
So
she
your
went
mom's
to.
a TCK too.
She's technically, I reckon, second gen. And then like I'm
You're
probably like a third gen.
That's crazy.
Wow.
Yeah.
But you're interesting third gen because you were born in Korea.
I know.
You, like,
So it's
went
like
to school.
it's like a
Yeah.
2.5
like-
kind of situation.
That's
2.5,
that's so
0.555.
strange that your mom was born in America, but you were born in Korea.
Yeah, I know.
Wow.
So, it's usually the reverse.
And then
Yeah.
you grew up in Sydney.
Sydney, yeah.
Wow.
That's so
crazy.
fun.
So like when I was in school, I really couldn't communicate with any of like the people there. And I think it was good. It was stressful at the time, but like also the kids were nice enough that they would still hang around with me and make an effort even if I couldn't really understand what they were talking about. And so like I did like ESL and stuff like that, but like my mom being able to speak fluently in English probably helped because I tried to speak English at home to try and understand my friends. And then I went to a Korean church. So for me, that was more of like an escape. All week, it would be like, I don't understand what they're saying. I just want to like understand what my friends are saying. And then going into a Korean church where like they're all second gen kids, they would kind of speak Korean and English at the same time. So like that was a really good, I think, escape for me from the stress and then helped me probably assimilate and integrate into like my super Australian high school. But I remember usually like the States as well, there's always a Koreatown, like where immigrants go to. So they all like flock into this one area and all the high schools are filled with Korean kids. So I remember there was a kid that came the same time that I did. And when we were like, I don't know, like 16, 17, I was already like fluent in English and he couldn't understand me. And I was like, when did you come to Australia? She came at the same time as me. And he was just in school, in church, everything. He's just surrounded by Koreans.
So
he's
hung
never had
around that,
the pressure to be able to speak and kind of excel
Okay.
for survival. And so,
it was good
yeah.
that you kind of
It was good.
were the minority in your school because
Yeah.
it kind of forced you to really integrate.
Yeah.
So can I reverse it for just a moment?
Mm.
So when you were at your hybrid school, obviously you probably thought you were just going to live in Korea. What were the emotions that you had? Was there fear about moving to Australia? Were you reticent? Were you like kind of upset at your mom? What was the kind of feeling to that?
I didn't really excel academically in Korea because kids are crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hardcore.
You know?
Hardcore.
My parents weren't really that type. And so because they didn't want me to, I still like went to these academies, and I remember like finishing at 10 p.m. and going home and
Oh my
doing homework,
gosh.
and then I have to get up at like 6 a.m. because my school is far and things like that. But it still wasn't enough to how far ahead these other kids were.
Wow.
And when I was in Korea, I was really, really quiet. Like I was really shy. I didn't really have a lot of friends. I had like one friend who I've known since like childhood, but she was like in another class as well. So I didn't really have any class friends as well. And I also have this memory of when I was in primary school. You know, English, like Western people, when they tell time, they do like that quarter to half past
Oh, yeah.
thing.
Mm.
And I could not wrap my head around that concept when I was in school. And I had an assignment where it was like there were clocks and you had to write quarter to 12 or like half past whatever. And I remember just like sitting there and being like, I don't know what. And the only thing I was good at was handwriting. Like, you know, you got marked on like cursive and stuff.
Yeah.
That was like the only thing that I was good at. And so I think when I left to go to Australia and they were proposing this idea, I was actually a little bit excited because I wasn't really fitting into like my school life. I didn't get bullied or anything, but it was just difficult for me to like continuously try and catch up. And I remember like I used to have like syncope, like
Double
nosebleeds, like
Oh,
all
'cause
the
of
time.
stress?
Yeah, probably. I
Probably.
don't know.
Oh,
But
wow.
it was very regular for me in Korea. It was very normal for me. And I've literally never had a nosebleed since moving to Australia.
Wow.
So it was
So
probably
this is
like,
a really good move for you.
yeah. Like in Australia, I mean, like in the first few years, like it was tough because, you know, you still have to like make friends and I can't understand and things like that. But I think I got really lucky with like the friendship group that I found in school that I didn't really feel left out at all.
Oh.
And it was my personality like changed 180 from when I got to Australia. Yeah.
Okay.
So it was good. Yeah.
Wow. That's crazy how like you felt that pressure when you were like 8, 7, 8, 9. Like,
Yeah.
wow.
With your mom having been raised in the States, I think that was probably a good thing for you because she knew that she was aware that unlike if she were Korean,
Mm-hmm.
she probably would have been like, well, this is what everyone does. You're just going to have to suck it up, just study well and just deal with it. Cause I had to deal with it when I was a kid. And this is what you're going to have to do. But so that's kind of really weird reversal of cultures between your mom and you.
Yeah,
That's so weird.
it's really weird.
I didn't know that your mom was born in America.
Because my grandma can speak fluent English.
What?
When did she immigrate?
So she didn't immigrate.
Okay.
So my grandpa was he went to Georgia Tech.
Gosh.
Yeah, for his PhD.
Wow.
What? Wait, this like how old is your grandpa? Okay.
You put me on the spot. I have no idea. Like
But probably in his 70s.
like 80 something.
70s, 80s.
Yeah.
Whoa, so he's like in the elite group because most people weren't even like graduating from middle school
Mm.
during
So
the time
he-
post Korean
He was
War.
like one of the first pioneers into
Yeah.
into America.
Yeah.
Studying in university.
Yeah. So like he
Wow.
didn't really have a lot of money, but he really wanted to study, and he did chemical engineering. And he went to do his PhD in the States, and he also went to Russia because like then Russia was rich.
Yeah.
And he came back. He was in the military for a long time, and he got the presidential award, like for I think it was like for chemical engineering or whatever, like 대통령상 or whatever it is.
Wow.
And so he was abroad quite a bit. And because my grandma like was married to him, she went to the States to visit him and everything. And then my mom was born. So she was born in Georgia, Atlanta, when he was still probably in PhD in university.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Wow. Wow. Wait, so that's so cool that you like probably don't have a language barrier with your mom or your
No,
grandparents.
I speak English to my grandma.
That's so cool.
That's so weird.
I know,
Yeah.
very, very rare, I think, with the grandparents'
Yeah.
generation.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's so cool. So after you moved to Sydney, how were you, like, other than church, were there other ways that you stayed in touch with your like Korean roots, culture, language?
When I was actually in Australia, that wasn't my main priority. And it was all to assimilate into Australian culture. And so, like, being in a Korean church was probably just a good way to relate, but I had no intention of like preserving my culture because this was more important. I wanted to fit in with like my friends, I wanted to be recognized as an Australian and, you know, wanted to seem cool to Australians. And so I think because my dad's side, they all can't speak English at all. And so talking with family there and then also having friends in church is probably the reason why I never lost the language. But like throughout probably my time in Sydney, it was like it because I grew up in a super white neighborhood, and I also grew up right next to the beach. So it was like
Wow, that's cool.
it was
My goodness.
it was like they it was cool to be tanned and cool to do a lot of sports. It was more attractive to have like light hair and, you know, things like that. And in like, but you know, when you're like a kid, like you want to look good in front of the boys. And so if you're looking at Australian boys, that's what they found attractive.
Yeah.
But then you go to a Korean church, but like that's not attractive. You know, they're still Korean. And so they want someone that's like,
Demure.
you know, quite Korean and, you know, they're like, I don't know, white and a bit more like 얌전해, you know, like,
Yeah.
you know, they want someone that's like quiet and calm. It's kind of like a Korean thing. But then Australians, like Western people, they like the fun, you know, they do sports together, they go to the beach together. And so I think I found myself like, I think a lot of second gens go, like have this kind of thing where you switch kind of your identity depending on the situation,
Sure.
depending on like if you're at school or if you're at church or if you're with family. And I think for a while that was more important than finding my own identity. It was like, how can I present myself better in that context, a bit better, like every time I switch. So kind of thing. And I think that was quite apparent throughout my high school life. And it kind of led to a bit of a identity crisis probably at the end of high school when you start questioning like, so who am I? Like, am I Australian? Am I Korean? Like, I'm not both. You know, Australians think I'm not Australian. Koreans think I'm like Kyopo, not Korean. And so who do I identify with? What kind of values am I supposed to have? And also it's also like, are these values actually values because I find them valuable, or is it just more acceptable in that culture? And kind of questioning that as well, because the culture's so different, was like quite big, I think, when I started when I moved to London, because I was on my own and I was in a completely different culture altogether over there as well.
We will cover your university experience, but let me take you back to moving to Australia.
Yeah.
So I know you kind of alluded to the fact that, you know, you had to they were pretty nice to you, but you still felt like you were an outsider at the beginning. Did you have any type of negative racism experiences that stand
Yeah.
out?
All the time. Australians, I think, are less, if you compare to Americans, they're less like, they care less about being politically correct
That's
Okay.
what Pastor Juan
Yeah,
said.
Yeah.
So they're kind of brass and they're like crass, but then they're not. It's not as maybe mean.
No,
as,
they're not trying to be mean.
Yeah.
They
It's
just say
just
it.
they just say
yeah.
I
it
see.
and just think
Okay.
it's funny.
They're just
Sure.
blunt. Okay. Okay.
It's just like
Oh.
it's just like banter.
Yeah.
And people just take that
Mhm.
as like they don't really find that super offensive. Because the intention behind it was like, so for example, I went to a church recently in Australia that's quite white, and they were super nice, lovely church. But when I went because I was introduced by my friend who's also Korean, and we went in, and the lady that was welcoming us, she was like, "Oh, siblings." And then like we don't look anything alike. And the funny thing was the week before, one of my other friends who's married that has a baby went, and the same lady was like, "Oh, family."
Cute.
So, like,
Cute.
yeah, so and then she's not trying to be racist. She's
Sure.
genuinely like, "Are you siblings? I can't tell." Like, and it's sometimes that could be like people could be very, very offended by that.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of Australians or like people that I know at least kind of just brush it off and go like, haha.
Okay.
But there's also like I think like any country, I remember there was this one time when I was in high school, and people used to yell out like, "Oh, like go back to your country," stuff like that. It's such a classic racist line.
Sure.
Yeah.
And I think because the people that I actually cared about and the people that were around me weren't racist, I kind of didn't really get too affected by that because they were an outsider. I didn't see them as racist, but they were just, they're not right in the head.
Okay.
Just by yelling at a stranger
Yeah.
in the street is like not really normal in itself. So it's like I kind of just put it in the same category as when, someone that's a bit not mentally well. But there was also always like, Koreans are good at maths, science,
Stereotypes. How is it the same in Australia as it is in the
Honestly,
States?
I have a theory. It's because I don't know about the States, but in Australia, the education system is not the best. As in, like, they don't put academic excellence at probably the forefront of their education system, which is a positive in some ways because they put sports and music and art just as important.
Okay.
You can make a living by doing that. You don't have to, be a doctor, be a lawyer, those things. Because, Australia is a privileged country where you can actually make a living without going to university and things like that. But when you're in Korea, like the times tables, like 구구단, probably when you're like, I don't know, like 6 or like 7.
Yeah,
I don't know,
early.
very young. And I remember when I first got to my school in Sydney, and they were playing this game where it's like a multiplication game. You're in the middle and you have to ask them like, what's 6 times 6, and if you don't answer in like a specific time period, you're out. And there's a game like
we did that.
Yeah,
when I was in elementary school actually.
yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
And I had to when someone asks me like 6 times 6, I have to go like 66, 36 and then translate to like 36. That takes like a little bit of time. But when they ask like Australian kids, I remember they were sitting there going like this.
Oh, that's
No.
cute.
What is that? I don't even know what this is.
What they're trying to compute in
that's
their
not
mind.
cute. That's concerning. Like you don't have enough fingers.
What I don't even know what they were doing. Like maybe it's an Australian thing. Like if there's maybe this is they were sitting there going like this, and I was like, what is it? What is that? And because I could do it so quickly, they were like, "Oh my gosh, you must be
super smart."
Super smart. You're not smart. It's not a smart issue. People this is just the speed at which Korean kids have to be taught to just even catch up. And so,
true.
I think that's where like this prejudice comes from. That especially when kids move there. If they're born there, you know, it's the same thing. Like you've had the same education system.
Yeah.
But then because a lot of kids go when they're, you know, year 5, 8, 9, 10, however long, that's when you've already learned like a lot of the things that they learn in year 7 or year 8, and they think you're really, really smart.
Okay.
And you get to like year 9 and then you become dumb because you haven't learned it yet.
That's pretty fascinating that both the two Australians that we've interviewed about racist experiences are kind of semi-similar in the sense of how you internalize the racism.
Okay.
Both, I know Pastor Jiwan's interview isn't out yet.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But now, if you guys are watching this, his interview is already out.
Yeah.
But that's interesting because I think, at least for the most part, from a States perspective, people who were raised in the States, similar to you guys, but you were raised in Australia, I think there's a little bit more sensitivity and hurt behind the racism more in the States than it seems like in Australia.
Interesting. Do you think it's because when people are racist in the States, they actually mean to be racist?
I think there's a little bit more intent, more not just ignorance, but also it doesn't seem like in the States versus Australia, because it's part of the culture, just to poke fun with a lighthearted intention, that translates over to even microaggression or a prejudice, where in the States, it's more of an intentional racist remark or intentional passive-aggressive microaggression. So I feel like maybe that's the difference, because it's interesting that, I mean, we only have 2
Australians.
Yeah,
But-
both from Sydney
but,
too,
but
right?
it seems like that's an interesting perspective from the States versus Australia.
Yeah. And I just want to add, like, racism is a social construct, right? Like,
Yeah, exactly.
it's a spectrum, like, and I think the States, the history itself is so
racist.
Like, you
That's a
can't,
great
you can't
point.
see anything in America without race, whereas Australia is not always
Not really like that, yeah.
case. And I think that's why being politically correct is such an important thing in the States, whereas in Australia, everyone's just like, haha. Like,
It's interesting because I don't know if other people would have the same experience as me. Like, I do think that I was lucky enough that I wasn't super, I don't really have a super hurtful memory of like race in general, because even until now, like, there's also some sort of like positive racism going on in Australia at the moment, where they really like and want to hire Asians because they are more hardworking, they think. Yeah,
it's like a positive stereotype.
Yeah, it's like it's because, you know, Asians are kind of wired that way, you know, because I think because of our older generation, you have to work hard, you have
Keep
to,
your head
you know,
down.
and then you have to listen to what they say and don't talk back, and that's kind of ingrained into the culture a little bit. It's kind of changing with the new generation, I think, when they're like, I am first, and that's more, it's growing. But I remember when I used to work at a cafe, there was this guy that worked very close to the cafe, and he was quite in a high position. And he used to say to us, like, I only want to hire Asians because Australians are so lazy. Like, you know, and that's kind of some opinions that some people have, as opposed to like Australians are, like, they have a little bit of that stereotype as well. Australians, that they're lazy and they don't work super hard, because Australia is a privileged country. There's a lot of benefits. There's a lot of like payments by governments for people that don't have jobs.
You guys have healthcare, really good healthcare.
Healthcare, like Medicare, and you know, they, like, for example, there's this thing called Job Seeker, which started like, I don't know, I'm not sure, but I remember hearing about it just probably before COVID. And it was bigger during COVID because a lot of people lost jobs during COVID. And they used to, if you just prove that you are applying to jobs, they gave you payment like every month. They just gave you money. And where in hard times that's good, now it's kind of getting to a negative part where people aren't working as hard to get jobs.
Oh, there's no limit?
Well, I don't know, but
Oh.
I don't think so.
Because in the States, they do the same thing, but for 9 months.
Yeah.
And then it stops.
Oh, well, I'm pretty sure if you can prove that you are continuously applying to jobs and can't get them, they just keep giving you money.
Wow.
And so like people are getting lazy and not really, trying to work really hard and create good competition.
I see.
And so there's this saying in Australia where it's like, if you just work a little bit harder, you can make so much money. Like, and kind of go up the ladder a lot quicker because there's not a lot of people that work super hard.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Maybe I'll have to move to Australia.
I know. I'm thinking the same thing. Wow.
Okay, well, that's fascinating. That's a good perspective on racism. That's a very good comparison with history of America versus Australia with racism. I like that comment. Yeah, so that's. I'm glad that you had a good experience in Australia. Yeah, but it's interesting. This is a good segue into your university years. So, is it normative to go through the secondary school system and then go to university outside of Australia, or did you do something that's not as normative?
No, it's not normal at all. A lot of Australians actually don't go overseas
Okay.
because, Australia has, great, like, what's 학자금 대출, like student loans. I don't know how they really work in America or anywhere else, but, you can just get a student loan and you don't have to start paying it back until you start working full time.
Oh, wow.
And
definitely different than the States.
yeah.
People will be very jealous to hear this.
I know. I was just gonna say.
But like, I don't know exactly how it works because I've never done Australian student loans.
Okay.
But from like what I've heard from my friends that have student loans, like that's the case.
Oh, wow.
A lot of my friends aren't super stressed about student loans
Wow.
because they regularly take it out of your bank account once you start working full time.
Okay.
And maybe when you start working full time, you'll actually see the money going out and that'll stress you out.
Yeah.
But a lot of my friends aren't really there yet. And so for me, my main goal was to leave Australia.
Wait, why?
Oh.
Why?
Because I didn't want to go to university in Australia. It was quite, unless you're doing something like law, medicine, those kind of top degrees, it's not very difficult to get into a university in Australia and probably get a job after. I wanted something a bit more challenging. And
Makes sense. Okay.
and also because at that time that's when like a lot of family stuff was going on. And so I wanted to be in a location where I was neutral. I'm not with any of my family. I'm an outsider and I just go visit family when I want to go visit family. And so going overseas was a big goal for me. And actually studying fashion in London really wasn't my original plan, but it just happened that way. And so I was probably one of the only people in my entire year and at church that actually went overseas to go to university.
That's
Very
really
rare.
adventurous of you.
I know.
Yeah. And that's cool because I feel like it broadened you, it broadened your horizon. It probably matured you in a different way than you would have done if you just stayed comfortably in Australia.
Yeah.
So, wow, that's cool.
Because like I had to, because not a lot of people go overseas, there's also not a lot of support. So, if you go to Korea, there's like fairs, career fairs, university fairs. There's like universities from all over the world. They, give you pamphlets and business cards and you have a lot of support.
Yeah.
But because not a lot of people do that, I had to like chase like I had to go to fairs that were really far to try and talk to the university that I wanted to get into, and then I had to organize the interview on my own. I had to like do all the visa process and healthcare and everything by myself. And so I think that really matured me as and prepared me to probably go overseas and live on my own. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So why
Okay.
fashion?
Oh my gosh, that's a different. So originally, my dream was to do music. Yeah. So I wanted to do jazz vocal and composition for university because in high school I was actually on a composition scholarship, music composition scholarship. So like 작곡.
You should make us a jingle. Please.
So
When you have time.
Well, yeah, Rielle has a beautiful, beautiful voice.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, it's very deep and very strong and resonant. And yeah,
Thank you.
yeah.
Wow, but like composition is another beast. Like, cause I took like an IB music class. I did not know what to do with myself, and I was just like, Lord, like, give me
Lord,
some
give me-
inspiration. Like, I don't know what I'm doing.
Because when I was in high school, I played the clarinet and I played the saxophone, and from then I my conductor for the orchestra, he was like, you should apply for a composition scholarship because it'll pay for your music lessons.
Wow.
So that the composition scholarship will give you the gear, the music lessons, which was really expensive. And so I composed like a tango. I don't know. So I only did classical compositions.
That's
That
even
sounds
harder.
super difficult. That's way more than
That's
like a
even
pop song or a
harder.
worship
I know,
song.
because don't pop songs just have like the same
Yeah,
four
like
chords?
3 or 4 chord
Chords?
progressions. That's what
Yeah.
most songs are, just 3
like
or 4 chord
like
progressions.
The hits.
But actually, like I find that more difficult because I tried to
Really?
compose like worship songs. I really wanted to do it. But I think now it'll be a bit different because I could never play the guitar. So when you play the clarinet and when you play the saxophone, the chords aren't really a big thing. And so it's more scales and stuff like that. And so you need to know like chords and kind of chord progressions to kind of do pop songs. You don't really need to know chord progressions to do like classical songs because it's more melodic. And you
Sure.
just need to know like the cadences and just like relationships with different notes and the key and stuff. And so that's what I originally wanted to do, but my parents were really against it. They were like, I don't want you to do music. I don't want that to be your career. And so I always had this thought of like, how important is this to me? Like, is it important enough that I want to fight for it against my parents to do it? Or is that just like my greed? I can always do music on the side. I don't have to make it my career. And it's not like I have to give up music altogether. And, you know, they're just trying to, you know, think about what's best for me and things like that. So I kind of put that aside. And actually, I was all ready to go into the army.
What?
Wait.
Where did this come from?
Australian Army?
So I was planning on applying to West Point. In America.
Oh, wow.
The United States Army.
Yeah, because I am an American citizen as well as Australian because of my mom. Because she was born there.
Gosh, that's
Rielle,
so
you're
fun.
so adventurous. This
West
is
Point
amazing.
is a
Very
very
competitive.
difficult school to
Yeah.
get into.
So I wanted to join the Air Force and try and become a pilot because it was actually my dad's dream to be a pilot. And I thought it was really cool. And, you know, I can move to another country and I can, you know, I'm American, so I can move to the States. And Australian Army, I tried, but they are really all about the Navy. rather than the Air Force
Which makes
because, you know,
sense.
it's an island,
Yeah.
you know,
That
and
makes
I don't
sense,
do
yeah.
boats. I don't like boats.
You shared this.
Yeah. I
Okay.
get really motion sick on boats, even though, you know, I don't know what it's like in the army, but I'm sure you can't throw up in the submarines and stuff. And
Oh.
so that's what I was preparing to do. So they have like physical examinations. You obviously need marks, and there's a lot of different things that you have to go through. And I was actually training to do the physical examinations and
Wow.
things like that. But when I was in high school, my top two subjects for my marks wise was music and design. So we had this thing called design and technology, the DT, and so I was thinking, you know what, I actually really like doing design, and maybe that could be a path for me as well. So I was kind of just experimenting, and in my head, because I said my goal was to move overseas, like my prayer was that like just get me overseas.
Okay.
Like I don't care what it is, like I just get me
Get
overseas.
me out of Australia.
Yeah. And but when I because the US is different because I'm a citizen, so I can get benefits and I don't have to pay international fees and things like that. But London, it was different because I'm a complete foreigner there. I have to pay international fees and I don't have any family there. And so in my head, I was like, my parents are never gonna say yes to it unless I apply to like the number one school, like ranking wise. And I actually wasn't expecting to get in. I was just like, you know, I'm just gonna apply and see what happens. And I was a bit like, I guess, cocky in my head, being like, well, if it's not the best, I'm not going, kind of thing.
Okay.
And so I prepared my portfolio for like 3-4 months because the term time is different. Australia, you graduate in December, but then London States, the term is like middle of the
May.
year.
Yeah.
And so I prepared for my portfolio interview and I put in my design project from my last year at high school. And I went to the interview and they actually gave me a spot like on the
At
spot.
the interview.
Yeah.
What?
Wow.
So they were like, okay, well, we can offer you a spot at this university.
You must have really impressed
And
him.
I was like,
Wow.
I was just, I wasn't, okay. And they gave me like a form and like, you just need to sign like later on. And you can, if you want to accept the offer, you
Wow.
just send it back to us.
That's
And
crazy.
actually in my head,
Mhm.
I was like, this is like a door opened.
Mhm.
So if my parents agree, I'm just gonna go for it.
Mm.
And from then I applied for my visa, my accommodation, and it just went like, and then I was gone in like a few months.
Wow, that's like a
Yeah.
whirlwind of going to the university. So you
Yeah.
you enjoyed your university experience?
Yes.
And you did get your fashion
Mhm.
degree? Okay. Is
I
it
love
fashion and design, or is it just like
No,
when we say fashion, are we talking
Couture?
clothes?
no.
Or-
So when you go to university at LCF, you have to do a foundation degree where you do design, business, and media.
Oh.
And it's an opportunity for you to try out everything and then choose your bachelor like after the first year, and then your bachelor is 3 years, so altogether that's 4.
Oh, that's smart.
I went to the university foundation year thinking that I'm gonna do design, like that's my way.
Mhm.
And when I went and did design, I was like, this is not what I imagined it would be.
Okay.
From so design in the States, for example, like FIT, Parsons, and all those universities, fashion universities in the States, the vibe is very different to European and British fashion universities.
Oh, okay.
So British and European fashion universities, it's more art. It's not clothes to sell. It's more like expression. It's more like sculptural and fine art.
okay.
And American universities, it's very like
Commercialized.
commercial.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay. I see.
Yeah, so when I was trying to apply for American Fashion University, the portfolio, you can see it in what they ask for in the portfolio. It's like, I want you to design a whole outfit that can interchange between seasons. Like the brief is very specific to what you can wear. But when I was preparing my portfolio for the London University, it was like, just do whatever you want. Like that shows your creativity.
That's harder.
It is not a brief. It is not a brief. All they ask for is 5 artworks that have different, like that have mixed media. So you have to do sketch, paint, and things. That's just to kind of show that you can actually draw.
I see.
That's just the only requirement. Everything else is like a free for all. You do as much as you want, as little as you want. You can do photography, you can do architecture, you can do anything. And that really translates into the course as well, where there's no brief and you just have to be more creative than that person, which is not, it's not easy.
For some people that could be really liberating, but for other
Yeah.
people it's like, well, I need some kind of like guideline, or
Yeah.
like at least baseline to understand what you want.
Exactly. And so when I started doing it, it's very frustrating because you don't get good marks and you don't even know why you don't get good marks,
Okay.
because it's kind of subjective.
Yeah.
They just don't, the university lecturer, they just don't think it's good enough. And I'm like, well, I think it's good enough. But they're like, nah, you don't get a no. And so it's very stressful. And you kind of have to adapt to different lecturers, different classes. And I just saw all these people that were so creative and can draw so much better than me. So I was like, I don't think I can do this. And like we had a class where you had a sketchbook and they put someone in the middle and you have to sketch them in like 30 seconds.
Wait, there's a name for that.
Like
Croquis or something.
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
What is that?
Like
Really? Like
yeah.
that? Yeah.
Speed
drawing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, Korean drawing, like you do like this thing. The dimensions, the proportions, and they were like, don't do that. Why are you doing that? You only have 30 seconds. You just draw what you feel like. It doesn't even have to look like that person. You just have
art.
to, it's art. Yeah, it's what you say
That
it is.
sounds really stressful.
Yeah.
Wow.
Not
And
for
so
the faint-hearted.
I just couldn't see myself excelling in this environment. And like, I'm not an artist. I'm more of like I'm not a creative person, but I don't think I'm a artist. And so when I did the media and the design courses, that was way more like I felt like I could excel in those areas because it's like you're using creativity to market a product. There's a brief, there's a point to what I'm doing at this point. Like I am trying to sell this and you can be as creative as you want, but the main goal and objective is to sell this product.
Yeah.
And for me, I think that was that was more up my street. And so that's when I kind of pivoted and then I graduated with a fashion, it's called strategic fashion management degree.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's like business,
Business.
marketing.
Yeah.
So you got your strategic management fashion degree from London. So we're thinking, okay, so Rielle is gonna go conquer the fashion world, and then you find yourself in Korea.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Wait. Before we move on to the Korean
What?
chapter,
Yeah.
I'm curious about London. Like,
Okay.
Uh-huh.
I guess, yeah.
let's save that for
We can
for,
dig
like,
deeper.
Yeah. Because when I first went to the States, I didn't realize how hard it would be to answer the question, where are you from? But I'm assuming for you, it's harder. So, like, how did you navigate that space?
It really depends on who's asking, I think. So when I was in London and they asked me, where are you from? I say, I'm from Australia. Like, I'm from Sydney, because they're listening to me speak English. And so they're asking, like, where are you from? What's your accent? And I say, oh, I'm from Australia, but you know, there's people that say like, "Oh, but where are you from though? Like, where are you
Where are you
from?"
really from? Yeah, yeah.
and that and then so I say, "Oh, I'm Korean, but I grew up in Australia." But then the funny thing is, now that I'm in Korea, it's really split into like three, because I spent probably like just as long in London that I did in like Sydney and then in Korea before. So I now, like, when people at church ask me, I'm like, "Oh, I'm Australian." Well, they actually automatically, I think, assume that I'm Korean. So I just go like, "Oh, I'm from Australia, but I've been living in London for I lived in London for like this amount of time." And I think it sums up like, yeah, it sums up nicely,
I see.
because I think because London had such a big impact on me, to shape my identity, like my worldview, just how I want to live, like what kind of like attitude that I want to have like in life, because it was when adulthood started. So like I was there on my own. I was paying bills and I was working and going to uni and finding like completely new friends in a new country. So it had the biggest impact on my life, I think. So if you take out the fact that I lived in London for like 4 or 5 years, then me being Australian doesn't really sum up like where I'm actually from, because Australians, I'm quite different to like original Australians. They're very, how they speak and how they interact with people is very different. And so now I'm kind of like, I'm Korean, but I grew up in Australia and I've been living in London for the past 4 years. That's how I usually say it. So long.
Wow.
So when you were in London and like I know for a lot of people when they go off to university they'll usually find some people that they feel comfortable with, like other Asians and
Yeah.
different fellowships like that and on university. How was the diversity in at your school in London? Did you end up going to like a Korean church? Did you have Korean friends, or did you just get more intermingled with just whoever was your particular core group, or like your cohorts in your school?
If I think about the people or like my friends that I still keep in touch with, they're all like Asian something else. Yeah, like Asian, British, Asian,
Oh, mixed.
American.
Basically.
Yeah, it's like basically they're all second gen kids. So like my best friend from London, she's from Hong Kong, but she
Okay.
grew up in England. So she
Oh, I
went to
see.
boarding
Okay.
school. And she didn't have any parents there. She went to a boarding school like all her high school life.
Yeah.
And like my other friend she's Malaysian, but she's also kind of British because she went to school there and things like that. So and I think it was very difficult for me, that what I felt was interesting is that I actually find it very difficult to connect deeply with people that only have one culture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Monocultural.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like completely British or completely American or completely Korean. And it's like a subtle difference, but it's a big difference when you start, I think,
Sure.
actually becoming really close friends. There's like this wall that I think you hit with people that don't know what that immigrant life or that change of country is like.
Yeah.
And so I went to a pretty British church, but because it was in the middle of the city, there was a lot of expats coming through, a lot of international students coming through. And so the congregation was really multicultural, but the leadership, the head pastor, like all the leaders were British. And it was like I loved my church in London. It was honestly like the most amazing church, like for me.
I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah, because I grew up in a Korean church, and Korean church is really Korean. Like they are, and they're Presbyterian, because I went to Onnuri,
Oh,
so they're a
okay.
bit more conservative.
Yeah.
Yep.
Koreans are conservative by nature, but then because they're Presbyterian, I think they're even more conservative, and
yeah.
a lot of structure, kind of hierarchy, and it's kind of like it's a big church, so it's it was kind of a bit like it was hard, like the structure. Like it was like bricks, so you couldn't really do whatever you wanted. There was like a meeting you had to be at a certain time.
Yeah.
Not a lot of experimenting with even leading worship and things like that. But my church in London, when I first went there, it was really small and very British. And then it just blew up after COVID for some reason.
Okay.
And so after COVID, that's when like we started gaining so many people that we started having night service. A lot more students started coming through. A lot of young couples, young workers from like Nigeria, France, like all over Europe, Singapore. Singapore was
That's
a big
really
one.
cool that you guys had a
Yeah.
multi-diversity, like a
It's
lot
like
of
actually
diversity.
international.
That's
Yeah,
cool.
it was so international.
Yeah.
Where they didn't even market themselves as international, but it just happened to be that way. So many like big Singaporean community, because a lot of Singaporeans come to London, Indian community, and so it, and I think what I loved about the church was that the leadership really took advantage of that. They weren't really like closed off about it. They were like, how can we evolve so that we can cater for this kind of community that are passing through and come from all different walks of life? And they started this they have always been doing it, but they really pushed this thing called Salt Live, which was a live talk that they did every month on a particular topic, and they would invite Christians that were experts in that field to give a talk about that topic, but in a Christian perspective.
Oh.
And they didn't shy away from controversial topics. They did one on evolution, and they invited a physics professor from Oxford University who was also a pastor.
Oh, okay.
And so that was like really interesting. They did one on like, you know, LGBTQ, and they did all these different topics. So it was really easy to bring people and evangelize without having it evangelistic. It wasn't like come and hear about the Bible. It was about come hear about a topic that you could be interested in, but just in a different perspective. So people were more open to it.
Wow.
And from that, they started a thing called the SALT course, which people could sign up and hear about and learn about the Bible from going to these talks, like for new Christians. And it was just really inspiring to be in that kind of environment where they were really trying to reach this, you know, non-Christian community, but in like an authentic way. You're not going and just preaching. It's like you're actually thinking about what would they want to hear about?
Yeah.
How can we introduce what we believe in through something that they're interested in? And it was way easier to actually, you know, evangelize that way. And so in a lot of aspects, I have a lot of respect for that church. And coming from a Korean church where like I was super burnt out from my Korean church going into London because I had been serving since I was 12.
Wow.
So I was in praise team since I was 12. And then in year 11, I became like the youth president, like the, what's it called? Like youth leader kind of thing. And then even I started leading praise when I was like 16, when I didn't even really, I was not fit to be a leader when I was like 16. And I carried it all the way through. And then as soon as I graduated, they made me a teacher. Like I started teaching like year 8 kids. I don't even know what I don't even know what I believe. And so for me, I was kind of just like shoved along the chain of like leadership. And when I moved to London, I was like, I'm gonna pretend I'm a new Christian. I'm just gonna strip away everything. I'm not gonna serve. I'm not gonna do anything. I'm just gonna receive. And I'm actually going to build my faith from scratch because I don't actually know what I believe anymore. And this church was like a great place, I think, to do that. Yeah, it was good.
And for that age group of that target audience that came to that church, approaching those type of topics like apologetics and how to answer in a relevant way some of the questions about relevant life and how does that apply to scripture, I think that was a really good strategy given the audience of the church.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool, and that kind of gave you the opportunity to find your own faith instead of the church that you grew up with. Not that the church that you grew up with did a bad thing with you.
No, of
but
course
it
not.
just you were able to find your own Christian identity.
Yeah. And it's also like really difficult to bring friends to a Korean church because it's catered for like it's catered for Koreans. Yeah. So I went to a super white school. So even if I wanted to bring my friends to church, it's like bunch of Koreans and they really felt out of place.
Yeah.
And so it was good to for me to, so I just gave up after like a while. I brought like 2 friends and I'm like, no, this is really weird. And so I kind of gave up, and I think I learned how to bring people to church from my London one because it was more catering for that purpose.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
You know, as I hear you like share your story, Rielle, Rielle.
Rielle.
I really admire how like self-aware you are. You're like
thank you.
constantly examining like as you were looking at uni and you're like, I like fashion, but like this is not my forte. Like I don't see myself moving here. I'm going to try this. Like with your faith as well, you're like, I'm really burnt out, and instead of going on autopilot and just like constantly just serving because that's normal for you, you're like, let me like re-examine who I want to be and why I believe the things I do. So I think that's so
Thank you.
admirable. And I think that is the spirit of being a third culture kid. Like you don't have to stick with what you're given, and you can pivot when other people are like, why are you doing that? You're like, why not? And you're like trying new things.
Yeah. Thank you.
I concur. well
I
said.
agree.
Yeah, so Rielle, another thing that you started picking up while you were in university before we swing into the whole Korea chapter of your life, you started a little YouTube channel.
Yes,
and
I
you
did.
kind of like gave people a perspective from what it's like to go to university and the things that you were going through. I actually dabbled and watched a few of your videos.
Oh my gosh, please.
And you're really articulate. You're well spoken. It's very interesting to hear about your life, and I watched some of your videos when you were in Korea too.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. It's really good. You're a natural.
Tell us more.
Thank you.
It's very aesthetic too.
Oh,
I love
that
it.
was what I was going
Yeah,
for.
I love it. It's so calming.
What is like your approach of your YouTube channel?
So, I started my YouTube channel. So I used to love YouTubers. There was like the classic, well, I don't know about what you guys watched on YouTube, but when I started getting into YouTube, which was like probably when I was 12 or like 13-ish, there was a group of YouTubers. It was very small then. It wasn't as saturated as now. People had like millions of followers or subscribers, and the big ones were like Zoella. Do you know Zoella?
No.
Oh, she's a British YouTuber. So she was the number 1 female YouTuber for like a British YouTuber for a while.
Okay.
She still vlogs and things like that. And I love Michelle Choi. Do you know Michelle Choi? Oh, she's an American vlogger. We have very different YouTube styles.
I'm in the Kev Jumba.
Who's that?
And like AJ Raphael, like
I don't know who that is.
oh, that's
Neither do I.
So like, and then also, do you know Bailey Sarian? No, she's a true crime document. She's a true
you
crime.
like true crime though.
I know, but like I feel the age gap.
What true crime do you watch? Stephanie Sue?
No, like Netflix documentary.
Oh no, okay. I look at Netflix documentaries too. But then Bailey Sarian's like one of my favorites because she's super funny when she does those true crime stuff. So I always loved YouTubers and I wanted to do it, but I think like everyone, I think you get a bit shy in the beginning. You don't want to tell anyone. No, I was like, I can tell people when I'm big. And I don't want that like, oh, you're a YouTuber kind of like vibe. And so I remember I had this like big Sony like cassette videotape.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And I found videos that I made vlogging when I was like 7 or 6.
Did you post these?
Wow.
Post some of it?
No.
Footage? Oh.
You started young.
And I was like, oh my gosh, I had it in me from when I was really young. It's so embarrassing. Maybe I'll show them like later on.
Someday.
Okay,
but cool.
So when I was in London, I started vlogging because I got into the semi-finals of this competition that Microsoft was doing.
Oh.
And they did a competition called Accelerating the Future of Fashion. And they partnered up with our university. And what you had to do was you had to choose a technology that Microsoft had, like AI, kinetic, or all that stuff. And you had to integrate that into like a fashion product and then pitch that business idea. And I did it and I got into the semifinals. I did this thing where you could use wearable technology and the Microsoft like kinetic camera that they use for gaming to help with rehabilitation for physios. So like a lot of because I played a lot of sport, so I got injured a lot when I was a kid.
I didn't know you were into sports.
Yeah, I competed in tennis for a long time.
Oh, I did not know this. Okay.
Yeah, and I had a lot of like knee injuries and stuff. And the thing about physio is that they give you all the exercises, but you don't want to do them when you're at home, so you don't do them and you don't get better. And so like I wanted to kind of tap that market where you had clothes and the camera, and there was an app where you could do exercises and it would like vibrate to show you if that was correct and optimal, and etc. And then so I got into the semifinals and etc. And then basically one of the brief was that you had to have a marketing strategy for the competition. You had to blog about it, you had to make an Instagram account, you had to whatever.
Okay.
So I was like, this is the perfect opportunity to start YouTube and have like a like a bit of support. Like I'm doing it because I'm in the Microsoft competition. You know what I mean?
Clout.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good,
smart. That's a good marketing
springboard
strategy
to use.
Yeah. So I'm not just blindly vlogging in my bedroom. Like I wanted to, it's like, okay, I can start doing this. And then when I do more competitions, I can do it and start this kind of useful but educational, but also just about my life.
Yeah.
And then so I started doing it during that competition period as just like a tryout. And then when the competition finished, I was like, I actually love doing that. Like this is really fun. And like there's that thrill of like when you start getting views. And I'm like, oh my gosh, can't disappoint the fans. my 10 of them, my 10 viewers.
Yeah, I have a small YouTube channel too, and it is fun.
Like when you had like 2 views and then suddenly you get like 30, it's like, oh my
Like,
gosh.
whoa, what?
Like I actually am seen, and so I can post more things and stuff. And then I think it's a bit of you shouldn't rely on views because that also gets depressing when you start not getting views. So you have to, I think, genuinely enjoy it, but that's also like a bit of motivation. Yeah. And when I started doing like life vlogging for fashion university, I found that like a lot of people were really interested, especially Koreans. I have a lot of like Korean commenters, and a lot of people messaging me on Instagram about how to get into the university and things like that.
That's great.
And that's basically how I started doing it. Right now I'm in a bit of a slump.
Me too.
Yeah. Because I'm like, I finished uni. So my whole identity of the YouTube channel was me in London as a fashion university student.
Okay.
So how am I gonna pivot that into something else?
Yeah.
And you know, I was studying for a long time in Korea. That's not interesting. It was interesting for like 2 videos. And then after that, it's just me constantly at my desk being stressed out.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I don't actually know what I want to film about or like what I want to talk about. And so I feel like I haven't really found that yet, because my career is also like this at the
Yeah.
moment.
That
I'm
makes
not
sense.
I'm not in a career.
Yeah.
So I think like me doing the TED thing is actually gonna be a good like thing to vlog about. So I have something now, but still trying to figure it out. But it's fun.
Okay.
Yeah. Trying to get to 1,000 subscribers.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
Nice.
that is fun. Yeah. Yeah. And Hannah's getting a small taste of YouTube now. Now that she is an official YouTube podcast. So she's getting to see like the views, and she's starting to see the subscribers coming in.
I am.
Isn't it
So-
like so, you know, do you have the YouTube Studio app?
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. You know when that number goes up? So good.
it does.
Yeah.
Or like one of our shorts, we got like 3,000 views when we
Yeah.
originally had only like 20 something views on the first one, and I was just like, what do we do? Can we replicate it?
I know.
I know.
I've now found that if I post anything about camera reviews or camera thoughts, I'll get 1,000 views in 24 hours.
Wow.
But if I do like my life vlogging, I'll get like 300, and I'm like,
You know, isn't that so like sometimes you kind of get mad?
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, my life is interesting too.
but you know what? I trick people now. What I do is I'll do camera reviews, but
In the
while
vlog?
I'm doing the camera reviews, I'll just talk about life. So I get them
The
anyway.
inside scoop.
Yeah, but that's how
so
I
funny.
keep my audience.
Yeah, because when I did YouTube, the video that has probably the most amount of views is my portfolio that got me into the university.
Oh.
So I did like a talk through of all the things that I submitted.
Yeah.
It has like 20 something K views.
Yeah.
Or something like that. And then the next one, the second one, is when I was during COVID, you know, a lot of people were doing like study with me videos, work with me videos, because everyone's at home. And I watched them a lot because it's really helpful when you're working by yourself.
Yep.
You don't want to do it in silence. So I was like, oh, maybe I'll just make one. And I made it, and it has like that also is up there with like that many views.
So you're like, wow, everyone loves my channel.
It honestly was like the thrill was crazy. Like when it started going up to, none of my other videos have more than 1,000. It's all below 1,000. And now I don't really care, because when you start caring about views, that you don't want to edit anymore, and you start
The
changing
stakes are
your
too high.
content,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
you know. And my thing is that like, because they're vlogs, I don't upload videos if I don't want to watch them back.
Oh.
Yeah, like if I find it boring, then everyone's gonna find it boring.
Yeah.
And so I usually just don't upload for the sake of like uploading. And that helps me keep uploading, because when I got that first like big view for the portfolio thing, I started trying to make more like uni project content videos, but then people didn't really like that, because they want to know how to get in, not what you do there.
Why?
Because like getting in is more important.
Oh gosh.
I guess
These
it depends on the niche, like people group that you end up getting into. So yeah, that makes sense.
Because I think because this university, as I said before, the brief is vague. So I think people want to see what actually got into the university.
Okay.
So usually those videos called like how I got into CSM, how I got into LCF, which is my university, it all has a lot of views because I think people want that. What can I do? How do I get in?
I see.
And I have a lot of comments there as well
Wow.
about like, how did you get visa? How did you do this? How did you find accommodation? And how did you find your apartment? And I wish I actually vlogged about that process of getting housing,
Yeah.
because that's like a big thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't.
Oh.
Lost opportunity.
Aw.
Now I can't even remember what I did.
Oh.
But yeah.
Well, definitely check out Rielle's channel. We'll
Thank
post
you.
it down on the description,
it,
and we'll
yeah.
also put it on the video right now.
Yeah.
But I think it's just called Rielle.
It is just called Rielle.
Yeah,
it's just
yeah.
like
Nice.
the, you know, when they started doing the at tags thing,
Yeah.
it's just my name.
Mm.
It was so good to get my name,
Yeah.
because they were. Did you see that they released existing YouTube content creators to pick the name first?
Oh wow.
Yeah, so they sent
That's
you an
cool.
email before they started like rolling out the tag stuff, and it was like, if you want to choose your name or reserve your name now, like you can do that. And I was
Oh.
like, yes, and then
Oh, that's cool.
and I got Rielle Park.
Wow.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I don't think I saw that, but yeah. Okay, cool. Oh yeah, my channel's at traveling on. No, I'm joking. But yeah, YouTube is fun, and my channel isn't called at traveling on. It's just traveling on. But
Spell that for us.
I'll put it on the thing down on the description.
Nice.
Yeah, so that's pretty cool. Now, I guess we could transition into you graduated from university,
Mm-hmm.
and I met you December 2023, but I think I just talked to you a little bit because we ended up going on a
Away.
trip for
Uh-huh.
a few weeks, and then
And then
just
I
good
was
'cause-
away probably.
Yeah, and then that's how we all met at church.
Yeah.
But yeah, when I came, you were part of the plant team,
Yes.
and
yeah.
you were leading worship on that day.
Yes.
And so,
The dark
what
days.
brought you to? Yeah,
The dark days when I was by myself.
yeah. The worship team wasn't very big at the time.
No.
But yeah,
Yeah.
let's kind of reverse a little bit. I mean, you got your degree,
Mhm.
and then you found yourself in Korea.
Korea.
So what
Yeah,
in the
what
world
happened?
brought you to be living locally in Korea?
I know. So it was really not in my plan at all, as with everything that happens in my life. Nothing goes to plan in my life. And so I actually so the reason why I came to Korea was it was kind of two-part. So when I was in London, I got an internship at this like haute couture, like very luxury brand called Ralph and Russo, which is like a Australian British brand. And I had an internship there as PR, and they were really open to hiring me afterwards if like all things went well. They hired me to be PR for the Cannes Film Festival, like in France. Super exciting. And then COVID came. It was like everyone lost jobs, everyone lost internships, no one is going to festivals.
Yeah.
Everything's closed, and it just was the end. No internships, no
Oh
jobs.
gosh.
And so I was like, so I actually took a gap year during COVID because I was paying international fees. And I was like, I don't want to pay this much money and do my classes online.
Yeah.
So, and they weren't willing to give a discounted fee for the COVID time. They were like, you have to pay the same amount.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm like, I'm not going to do that. And so I took a gap year and I went back to Australia and actually I built my own website to start something, and then like that didn't really work out. But so when I went back to uni to finish my final year after COVID and after gap year, I was thinking about like, where am I gonna be? Am I gonna stay in London, which would mean, you know, if you start a fashion job in London, there is a 95% chance that you're not gonna get paid like a single cent.
yeah.
You will get paid maybe lunch and travel.
Yeah.
And that's just how it is. There's just too much competition. You're not going to get paid. And so am I going to sacrifice, I have to ask my parents for money to advance my career. You have a 2-year graduate visa, so that's not a lot as well. You have to leave London after 2 years. So what am I going to do? Am I going to stay here? That was a big question. And a family member ended up getting ill, like in Korea. And so I was asked, like, oh, can you come live in Korea so you can spend time
I didn't know the origins of why you came.
Yeah.
Oh.
So I originally came, well, I was thinking about it and was like, what am I going to do? So I was originally gonna go back to Australia, but I was thinking, okay, well, I really want to be there in Korea, like for my family. And so I basically went, okay, I don't have a job lined up right now. There's nothing in London that's really making me stay there. And I applied to a lot of jobs. And so like, this is like a bit of a calling. I'll go to Korea. And the big thing was I actually got introduced to this church by an Australian friend that came to London as like a work exchange for like 3 months or something, and they were close to Pastor Chiwon.
Wow.
So he was like, oh, if you're planning on going to Korea, I know someone that's planting a church that would love probably help. And if you're interested, like, I'll connect you guys. And so that's how I got to know ARC in London. And I kind of was thinking, this is all kind of coming together. And there's no reason for me to not go to Korea. And I think this is probably where I'm supposed to go. And so I packed up everything and I came to Korea just cause, like, with no job, with nothing.
This was like summer or fall 2023?
2023, probably like September.
Okay.
Yeah, because that's when I graduated and packed up everything. Yeah. That's how I came. And it was just, I was applying for jobs, doing things to find jobs, didn't find jobs. And then, and then I ended up studying. Yeah.
And what did you study?
Do you know what I studied?
I do, but our listeners don't.
At least some of your YouTube followers know what you were studying.
Yes, they might. So I started on a doomed journey to become a licensed CTA, which means I think it's certified tax accountant in Korea. It's very particular, I think, to Korea and like Japan and the Asian countries to have like a separate license for just tax accounting, because usually I think CPAs do everything. Not sure, but in Korea it's different. The tax accountant and the accountant, CPA and CTA. And yeah, I started doing that.
That's rigorous because it's in Korean.
It's in Korean.
Which is, you are really adventurous.
Yeah.
I mean, to tackle that and try to study, I mean, that's
like
really,
even Koreans don't pass this exam.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's not even your, I mean, it's your native tongue, but it's been so long since you really exercise your Korean.
You didn't go to Korean university.
It's
Yeah,
impressive
no.
that you were able to even tackle it.
Honestly,
and study.
Koreans don't pass it. Like usually, they sometimes take like 5 years. Just
Yeah.
a FYI, I didn't pass it. So I wasn't. It wasn't a miracle, and I passed the exam. But then, like, I think for me, it was never about the license. So I think that's why I'm not as like, I was super disappointed because like I've never studied this hard in my entire life. And I think different to obviously a university degree, like you at least come out with a degree. But there's these license exams, like if you don't get the license, there's nothing to show for it. Like there's nothing to say that you even did this course. So on paper, it looks like you just had like 2-year gap of no work. But for me, I think because the main goal was to spend time with family, and I think like because of that, I kind of recognized that and this test was a big bonding topic for with my family, because I'm like we've been talking about, like I'm second gen. I'm actually not really Korean, and I have nothing in common with my Korean family members that have lived in Korea forever.
Yeah.
And so there's like really nothing to talk about. And when I started doing this exam and started learning about kind of the Korean system, and you can know a lot about the country by looking at how the tax system is set up, because that's how the regular ordinary people, this is how everyone gets taxed. You can see the benefits, you can see the the ways that they collect more money from you, or ways that it's like you can see where government wants to put support by giving, because financial is the biggest support. And so I learned I think a lot about this country and the system, and and things like that, like because you do like law subjects and everything. And just by me taking interest in it and asking questions, being like, oh, this is like this, why is it like that? And because I'm talking about it, was the only like bonding point between me and my family. They're like, it's because of that. Oh my gosh, that's so frustrating. And this is a problem. And it just created conversation.
Wow.
And from that, we started having more conversations about church. And because my family's not Christian, like my dad's side of the family, who's all in Korea, they're not Christian. And so and then because I'm doing that and also going to church, they're like, oh, what's your church like? It's full of international people, and what are they like? Why are they in Korea? And it just created a start of a relationship, I think, between me and family. And because of that, I don't think I regret starting or doing this exam at all. And also the reason why I feel like, because I've chosen not to do it anymore, I feel like it's time for me to like not do it, because that was what was important. That was the thing that came out of the study. It was never about the license.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, this was good because of this. So now I have to find my own, because that family member that was ill, like they're a lot better. So they don't really need me here anymore, and I'll always go back and forth. And so it was good.
Oh, I mean, that's really great that you're able to step back and see that perspective and not lament the fact that you had some wasted time. And like, you could have looked at it as wasted time, but you saw the bigger picture and you're able to give thanks for that. That's awesome.
I did look at it as wasted time for a while. Like, it was depressing for a while.
Yeah.
But now in hindsight.
Yeah, because,
But that says a lot. That's awesome,
And
though.
you never know, Rielle,
What do you mean?
where that experience is going to come in handy.
Yes.
Like,
That's very true.
you never know.
Yeah.
Like helping me out and answering about the whole tax situation in Korea. We paid our first taxes this year.
Oh, really?
Give me the inside scoop.
We've been in Korea for more than 5 years.
5 years,
we had to pay taxes to Korea for the first time last year.
I remember when Hyojin was like, can you hurry up and get your license so you can do my tax? I'm like, sorry, Hyojin, I didn't get it.
Oh.
So,
Nice.
okay. So you alluded to something that I think it would be nice for you to elaborate on. Now that you've closed this chapter, the family member is feeling healthier.
Yeah.
What's going on?
What's next?
Yeah.
Oh.
What is going on?
I have
Rielle?
no idea.
Really?
Well, it's funny because my life this has always been the pattern. I want something, I pray for it, and it doesn't happen.
Oh.
And it's not like I think it's not in a bad way, but like when I was in London, I was like, please just get me any job, just any job. And I was like, I was applying to London, America, and Korea and Australia
Wow.
because, you know, I could potentially work in all those places.
Wow.
And so I was just
It's amazing.
spreading my CV everywhere,
Mhm.
being like, praying, God, I will go wherever you want me to go by getting me a job.
Yeah.
And there was no job, like not even one. And then this career thing came up. It wasn't about a job. It was about obviously family and something else. And so I came here, wanted to get a job, but ended up doing this exam or like this license because I felt like it was a way for me to connect with family. So looking back on it now, like my decisions have never been about my career or money. And the decision that I always come to has always just been because of like relationships with people that I care about and people that I love. And so when I came here, it was because of family and they wanted me here and they missed me. And then now that, you know, this chapter I feel like is coming to an end, I am now, you know, thinking about getting married and getting engaged and because my, you know, my boyfriend is in Australia, like now maybe my chapter is over there. And I think it's good in a way because I think I blessed or I don't know, irresponsible. But like I'm blessed with I think a type of I don't know, like how I look at my life, it doesn't really I don't really need anything too big. I just need to survive and be around people that I love. And so like it doesn't really matter if I have this gap in my career. I think like I'll always be provided with an opportunity or with money, but it's getting to a point where I am at an age where I need a job. And so I'm not in like it's fresh out of university kind of time period anymore. I'm because if I want to get married, you know, I need money and I need a job. If you want a house, you need a mortgage and you need a job. And so I think right now it's kind of up in the air. This always happens when I finish like a chapter of my life. Everything's up in the air. And so I've been applying to a lot of jobs in Australia, trying to make my way back there. Not really having any like big success with it. I also have been applying to jobs in Korea, but also like not really like nothing's really coming from it. And maybe like something will come from I talked to she works in fashion, so maybe like something might come from there. So I don't know, in one way like I think it's super anxiety inducing this time because you know like I have to start building my career and earning money and being more stable. But I think also it is exciting because I'm moving on to a new chapter and I think I'm expectant and a bit like looking forward to what opportunity will come my way because I've kind of passed the stressing stage because I've been applying to jobs for months. All throughout when I was in Australia, I was applying for jobs. That's all I was doing. And I was like, oh my gosh, why isn't anybody giving me an interview? Why isn't anybody giving me a chance? I don't understand. Like I can show a lot for myself. Like, I can prove it if you just give me an interview. And it was like stressful. But then now there's nothing I can do. It's out of my control. And I'll just seize the opportunity like if it comes. And I'll just let things flow.
Surrender it to the Lord. Like really.
So, wow, I didn't realize that you were actually applying for some possible positions in Korea.
Mm.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Because I'm not really at now because I think I, so it going back to Australia was a bit like mentally hard for me because in Australia, like fashion is almost non-existent. Like coming from a fashion university in London, like most likely you will not find companies or jobs that really spark that creativity as much as you would probably in New York or London or Seoul, because the population is more dense. You know, a lot of APAC headquarters that's usually in like Singapore, Japan, and maybe in Korea.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's really not a lot of opportunities in Australia. And so from my perspective, I felt like I was giving up a lot for me to go back to Australia. But I think for me, I have to make a decision for my relationship and just let go and just go, because like if I'm not going to do that, I might as well just break up and pursue my career elsewhere. Like it's not fair for me to be like, oh, I'll go back, but let me just see if I can get a better job here. That's why I kind of stopped applying to jobs in Korea.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Because like what kind of message am I sending to, you know, my partner if I'm trying to apply for jobs in another country and, you know, not really thinking about going back there. And so, but I think right now there are a few opportunities where you only have to work for like 3 months in like big companies, so internships. So I was like, maybe that's something that I could consider, because 3 months is really short, and it would be great to have that on my CV if you're working for like Louis Vuitton or, you know, Chanel, those big brands. You can, if you have that on your CV, it's much easier for you to go
The next step.
anywhere.
Yep.
Yeah. So I think that's the extent of me looking for an opportunity in Korea at the
okay.
moment.
Okay.
But right now, the decision is just that I'm going back to Australia, and I'm hoping that something comes.
Out.
Sure.
Yeah.
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 Or maybe I'll
Wow.
just have to be a YouTuber forever.
Well,
I mean, I wouldn't be mad.
I mean, the thing is your future partner and future possible spouse, you've known each other for such a long time.
Yeah.
You have really deep roots with each other. You kind of grew up in your formative years together.
Yeah.
So there's that like foundation that you're not gonna always be able to find elsewhere. And so that's pretty cool. And maybe thinking like if you go to Australia, you might be like the big fish in the small pond.
Hope
terms
maybe.
of, like,
maybe.
your
True,
skills.
that's true.
You know, maybe you could
And
be an
then-
entrepreneur and,
And
start
maybe
your own
you
thing.
go into a company and they realize like, or you realize there's no like personnel who can do the things that you can do, and then
Yeah.
you open a new.
Yeah, because
avenue.
you
Yeah.
got the education and you may not have as much competition.
That's
So,
true.
I mean, look
You
at it
never
that way.
know. You never know.
They'll be like, oh, that fashion designer Rielle Park from Sydney, she started her own thing.
No, but actually,
Yeah,
that's how
seriously.
things happen these days.
Yeah.
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 Exciting.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, okay, it feels more real now that I'm actually hearing it directly from you. But it's at the same time, it's bittersweet to know that, you know, God is leading you back to Australia.
I know.
But
And-
But I'll always be back.
Just
Yeah.
for now, right?
Yeah.
Like, who knows? Maybe you and your future husband like move to some random country.
That's very true, actually.
very
never
true.
You
know.
never know.
yeah.
Yeah, like I heard people are trying to get like Portuguese citizenship because
What?
they're desperate.
So random.
I heard it from some podcast, so we never know.
We never know.
We never know. And
Yeah.
you know, Rielle, I'm like really inspired by your whole life story.
thank
Like you're
you.
so adventurous, and it's
For sure.
Too
and,
adventurous.
Like nothing goes to waste. I think
Yeah.
every part of the way, like it led you to realize something about yourself, and like you are so like a lot of people don't want to step outside of their comfort zones. Like last week, Adam and I, we couldn't even answer that as a question.
What question?
Oh, what did you do out of your comfort zone
Oh.
recently? Because we're both like, oh, we are in our comfort zones, and you're constantly testing that. And I think this is like the beginning of something really, really awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you. I honestly think that I'm in a bit of an abusive relationship with myself to get into not comfortable zones.
Like a little too
Like I don't like it. I seem to not like being comfortable for too long. I just always put myself in situations where I am uncomfortable.
Wait, I think that's just like a TCK
No.
trait because look at me, I'm going to India.
Yeah,
so
I mean, by
true.
the time you all see this, Hannah will not even be here. She
know.
won't even be
We won't
local
be
in Korea.
local.
No.
Because this is going to post at what time do we think?
November.
Whenever, okay, so
What?
everyone is watching this in November.
November.
So
Just
all
imagine we're wearing
these
sweaters.
two ladies' lives are going to be very different than
So
it is right
true.
now. So
Yeah.
Oh my
I'll be the only
goodness.
local. You guys will be the lost ones.
You never know,
elsewhere.
Adam. You might be in Portugal.
Oh yeah.
Portugal.
I think my wife might not like that idea. But
Guys, I'm in Portugal. We'll just
although
have...
I've heard Portugal's beautiful.
I know.
Like we had my wife's friends were there for 3 months, and they loved it.
And they have the best egg tarts.
Really? Oh, my wife loves egg tarts.
Maybe she'll want to go to Portugal.
This is a thing. No, but
We'll have to Zoom do the podcast.
Yeah.
It's like, so
6 months later.
yeah, for sure. Because it seems like regardless if you make a permanent base or at least a temporary permanent base in Australia, you'll be back in Korea.
yeah,
Yeah, you
very
got your family
regularly.
here.
Yeah.
And Hannah will be back in Korea.
Every
So
6
maybe
months.
we could do a revisit, podcast too.
Oh my gosh.
Talk about
Yes.
life updates.
Yeah.
Where
That would
we
be
are.
awesome. And
Yeah.
we'll be here at the Traveling On studio.
You know what would be the best? We would refilm or like we would film a future podcast in Australia because we've never been.
Oh yeah.
Maybe you
Yeah.
can come for my wedding
Yeah.
and then
that'd be-
do a podcast.
My wife has always wanted an excuse to find a reason to go to Australia. And I'm like, babe, we don't know anyone in Australia.
Me, now you do. And
Like, why would we go to Australia?
I will literally give you a year's notice, being like, this is
The date.
the date you will come to Australia.
Well, we are very excited for you,
Yeah.
Rielle.
Thank
And
you.
I feel like it's going to be adventure. That's the running motif with you is adventure.
So where is she now?
Yes.
You never know.
Where in the
maybe
world
she's
is Rielle?
maybe now she's in India. I'm in.
Yes.
I'm in,
Yes.
I have no idea what I am.
You're
Yeah.
real.
Yeah.
Real.
You're just Rielle. Yeah. But
Yes.
yeah. And ultimately, our identity is in Christ.
Amen.
So
Okay.
our
Amen.
ultimate home is not even this
Amen.
earth,
Amen. Oh, Pastor Jiwon would be proud of us.
but
Now let's invite the worship team up to prayer.
well, we have the whole worship team here right now.
Put on the
That's
pad
so
for.
true. Yeah.
Yeah. But we'll all be playing next Sunday, so including you, Hannah. You'll be playing the piano.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Two
I
more
need to
weeks.
choose a
2 more
song.
weeks.
But yeah. Oh my goodness. Is it only 2 more weeks?
Yeah.
No.
Goodness gracious. That's coming up really fast.
I know.
Coming in hot.
This was really fun, Rielle. We
Mm.
definitely look
Yes.
forward
So long.
to
I
doing
talked for too
a
long.
follow-up podcast
Yes.
with updates from both of you ladies. Hopefully I'm still here in Seoul. I mean, I don't want to
Portuguese.
my YouTube name is Traveling On, so who knows?
Who
I
knows?
know,
Who knows? Oh my
I
gosh.
Who
know.
knows? Maybe you'll be back somewhere else.
Who knows?
Well,
Well, yeah.
if it's my choice, I'll still be here.
We'll actually, if you both actually end up coming to Australia, we'll do a podcast.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that'd
we'll
be
do
fun.
an update.
That would be fun.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, you all, thank you so much for checking out the channel and checking out Rielle and her life. It was very interesting. If you have any questions, leave the comments down below and we'll seek out Rielle to maybe answer them. But in the meantime, you all, we'll see you in the next episode.
Oh,
God
been this way.
bless. Peace.
Bye.